Before the RMS Titanic ever came close to the iceberg that would change its fate forever, there were already signs, already messages traveling through the air in the form of wireless signals, carrying information from ship to ship across the vast Atlantic Ocean. Messages that spoke of ice, of danger, and of conditions that required attention. Please subscribe. Yet these warnings, though received, became part of a complex chain of communication that did not fully translate into the level of caution that might have altered the course of events. Throughout the day leading up to the collision, the Titanic's wireless operators were actively receiving messages from other ships navigating similar routes. These ships had encountered ice fields, drifting ice, and large icebergs, and they used the wireless system to report these observations, sharing information that was intended to help others avoid potential hazards. Each message added to a growing awareness that the area ahead was not entirely safe, even if the weather itself appeared calm and clear. One of the key aspects of these warning messages was their frequency. They did not arrive as a single alert or a sudden announcement of danger, but rather as a series of communications spread over time, each one contributing a piece to the overall picture. Some messages were detailed, providing specific locations and descriptions of ice, while others were more general, simply indicating that ice had been sighted in certain areas. For the wireless operators aboard the Titanic, managing these messages was part of their daily routine. They were responsible for receiving, recording, and passing along information as needed, but they also had to handle a high volume of other communications, including passenger messages. This created a situation where not all messages were treated with the same level of urgency, especially when they did not appear to indicate immediate danger. The process of relaying these warnings to the bridge, where navigational decisions were made, was an important step in how the information was used. Some messages were delivered promptly, while others may have been delayed or not emphasized in a way that reflected their potential significance. This was not necessarily due to negligence, but rather a reflection of how communication systems and priorities were managed at the time. Another factor that influenced how these warnings were perceived was the overall confidence in the ship itself. The Titanic was seen as a strong and advanced vessel, capable of handling challenges that might concern other ships. This confidence may have contributed to a sense that while caution was necessary, there was no immediate cause for alarm. As the day moved into evening, the conditions remained calm, with clear skies and a still ocean, reinforcing the impression that the journey was proceeding smoothly. The absence of visible danger made it difficult to fully appreciate the significance of the warnings that had been received. Without direct evidence of ice in the immediate path, the messages remained abstract, something to be considered but not necessarily acted upon with urgency. One of the most well-known aspects of this story is the idea that some of the warning messages were not fully acted upon, raising questions about how communication and decision-making interacted during those critical hours. It highlights the complexity of managing information in real time, especially when multiple factors are involved and when the situation does not appear immediately threatening. When the Titanic finally encountered the iceberg, it became clear that the warnings had been pointing toward a real and present danger. The information had been available, the signals had been sent, but the way in which they were interpreted and prioritized did not lead to the level of caution that might have prevented the collision. Looking back, the iceberg warning messages received by the Titanic serve as an important lesson in communication, awareness, and decision-making. They show how information, even when accurate and timely, must be properly understood and acted upon to be effective. It is not enough for warnings to exist. They must be integrated into the decision-making process in a way that reflects their importance. More than a century later, these messages continue to be studied as part of the Titanic's story, providing insight into how events unfolded and what factors contributed to the outcome. They remind us that in any complex situation, the flow of information plays a critical role, and that the way it is handled can have far-reaching consequences. In the end, the iceberg warning messages received by the Titanic were not just signals sent across the ocean. They were pieces of a larger puzzle, clues that pointed toward a danger that was not fully realized until it was too late. They remain a powerful reminder that awareness and action must go hand in hand, and that even the most advanced systems are only as effective as the people who use them. The Titanic's story is often told through its dramatic moments, but the quiet flow of messages leading up to those moments is equally important, offering a deeper understanding of how the tragedy developed and what might have been different under other circumstances.